All right, today we are tackling a word that you've definitely heard thrown around, but it's a little tricky, the sitemap. It sounds so simple, right? But what most people don't realize is that it's living a double life. It serves two completely different masters. So let's pull back the curtain and decode this thing.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? You're clicking around, you're hitting the back button a million times, you're just trying to find one simple piece of info. It feels like you're stuck in a digital maze, and it is so frustrating.
But then there's the other side of it. You can type some super obscure random phrase into a search engine and bam! It pulls up the exact page you needed, buried like 100 levels deep in some massive website. It honestly feels like magic. How in the world does it do that?
Well, the answer to both that frustration and that magic is the sitemap. But here's the twist. The secret identity I was talking about, the sitemap that helps you find your way, is a totally different beast from the one that helps Google. So let's meet the first one.
Okay, so first up, we have the sitemap that's made for us, for people. It's designed for our eyes, our brains. You should really think of this one as the master blueprint for a website. This is what we call a visual sitemap. It's basically a flowchart, a diagram. It gives you that bird's eye view of the entire website structure. It's something designers create to plan things out, but ultimately it's for you, the user, to make sure the whole experience just makes sense.
And its job is pretty straightforward. First, it helps everyone visualize the skeleton of the site. Then, it helps them organize all the content in a way that feels logical. And finally, it makes it easy to map out a clear path so you can get from A to B without getting lost. It's all about making that journey intuitive.
And this is the perfect analogy. I mean, you would never, ever build a house without a blueprint, right? Of course not. A visual sitemap does that exact same job for a website. It makes sure every single room or page has a clear purpose and is easy to find.
Now here's where it gets really cool, because this actually connects to psychology. This quote basically says that a good sitemap isn't just a diagram on a screen. It's a picture of how our brains already organize information. It's taking the mental map in our heads and drawing it out so a website can match it.
So, this brings us right to the heart of it all. Here they are side by side. On the left, the sitemap for you, a visual planning tool. And on the right, the sitemap for Google, a technical file full of instructions. And look at the focus here. One is all about usability, making it easy for people. The other is all about indexability, making it easy for machines. Let's go meet that other identity.
All right, now let's switch gears and talk about the sitemap that you were never, ever meant to see. This one isn't for you. It's written for the tireless little robots, the web crawlers that work for search engines like Google.
This quote I found in a Reddit discussion just nails the problem perfectly. Imagine your website has 1 million pages. 1 million! You can't just cross your fingers and hope a search engine stumbles across every single one. No way. You have to hand it a map.
And that's the whole point, right? A problem of this scale needs a solution that's built for machines. It has to be ruthlessly efficient, perfectly structured, something a robot can understand in a split second.
And this is what that map looks like. It is not a friendly, pretty diagram. It's a wall of code. It's an XML file, which is basically a raw text-based list of instructions. It's not for you. It is 100% for them.
So the official name for this thing is an XML sitemap. It's a standard format that Google, Bing, all the big search engines have agreed to use. And it's really just a list of every important page on your site that you want them to know about. It helps them crawl your site a whole lot smarter.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty real quick. This file is almost always called sitemap.xml. Search engines find it because another file, robots.txt, points them to it. Now, for those massive sites, you can actually have multiple sitemap files, but here's the most important thing to remember. This is a suggestion to Google, not a command. It doesn't guarantee they'll index every single page, but it makes it a lot more likely.
Okay, so we've got a map for humans and a map for robots. They seem totally different. So why is it so important to understand how they're connected?
Because here's the secret. They aren't separate jobs at all. They're just two sides of the exact same coin. And that coin is called strategic organization. One organizes information for human brains, the other organizes it for machine algorithms. But they both come from the same place, a coherent structure.
And this is the practical payoff. If you do the hard work up front, if you plan a logical, user-friendly website with a great visual sitemap, then generating a clean, effective XML sitemap for the robots becomes almost automatic. Good structure for people is good structure for search engines.
So how do we actually do this? How do we put this all into practice? Let's walk through how you can build a better map from the ground up.
Creating a great visual sitemap really boils down to 4 steps. First, you have to define your goals. What is this website for? Second, you identify your main buckets of content. Third, you group all that related content together. And finally, you map out exactly how a person is going to move between those groups. Simple as that.
And here are just a few pro tips that apply to both worlds. For the human side, always think about balancing how many options you show versus how many clicks it takes to get somewhere. For the robot side, you can actually use your XML sitemap as a diagnostic tool to see what Google is actually indexing. But for both, the 2 big rules are use clear, consistent labels for everything, and always listen to your users.
And that's it. If you remember one thing today, let it be this. Plan for your users first. Obsess over making a clear, logical, and valuable experience for the people visiting your site. If you do that, you are automatically building a website that search engines can understand, appreciate, and rank well. The human-first approach is the best SEO approach, period.
And the impact of getting this right is just huge. I mean, look at this. Thinking about sitemaps this way gives you a massive boost across the board. Your user experience goes way up, your SEO performance gets better because the crawlers understand you, and believe it or not, it even makes maintaining the site easier down the road because everything is so well organized.
So I'll leave you with this final question to chew on. For years, we've had to create these 2 separate maps, one for human logic and one for machine logic. But as AI gets smarter, as it learns to see and understand a web page just like you and I do, will that distinction eventually just dissolve? Are we heading toward a future where the only map that matters is the one we build for each other? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.